What is arranging in production? Arranging is the way that instrumentation and voices and parts and melodies and rhythms come in and out of the structure of a song. I view the structure of a song and the arrangement of the song to be definitely things that go very much hand in hand. They rely on each other for sure, but they're two different things. So the structure is the sections of the song and the order in which they happen. The arranging is what instrumentation choices you have in the song, and the dynamics of things, and how momentum is built, and the way you create space at times, and tension and release. Those are the things that make for arranging. And it's important that you spend time making observations about productions that are in the genre that you want to be in, or to understand what sort of sounds and arrangements in a production make something fit a certain genre. But then it's also important that you take cues from other forms of music, other genres, and not just Western music. I mean, all music from history. I think it's important to study a little bit, because at different times in music there are different trends, there are different things that are popular. Chord progressions and voicings and rhythms change over time, and the more educated you are, the better of an arranger you can be, because you're able to borrow things and take inspiration from other forms of music, other genres of music, and that's also the way learning to be a good arranger and being able to identify what makes arrangements work in other records will be important in how you display your own uniqueness and sense of style and creativity. As creators, we're largely a result of the things that we have enjoyed over time in terms of listening to music and art and everything in life in general. But we're sort of our own unique amalgamation of those things. And the more knowledgeable you are about the not only the variety that you personally like, but the variety that's available in music, the better equipped you will be to work out the arrangements of your own music and productions. Why a halftime rhythm feels good against some busier melodic movements, or sort of the other way around. Or and the arrangements is not necessarily just about instrumentation. It becomes about effects and the treatments of sounds, and creating space and dimension in a record production, and being able to decipher what a reverb is versus a delay, or just different things like that. How those record-making mechanisms give us a feeling of energy and dynamic and engagement, and create a soundscape, create the sort of the movement and visualization that music can give us. Arranging has to do with the way you make selections of instruments and the way that the instruments work within the structure. So with the structure, we might have an introduction, a verse, and a chorus. That's the initial sequence of the song. Arranging is how we think about instruments entering the structure of our song. We might decide to wait until the chorus before the bass comes in, or we add a second guitar in the chorus. We might choose to harmonize the vocal in the second verse. We might choose to double a vocal melody with a piano line. It's also about how you decide what things are playing what rhythms, and when maybe you add like a tambourine to a drum part, so that you have you're reinforcing some of the rhythm. You're giving a different subdivision, different syncopation to the rhythm. That's arranging. The structure is the sequence and the layout of all the parts of the song, and then the arrangement is the way the instrumentation and melodies and rhythms work within the structure. At its most basic, arranging is the selection of instrumentation and when it appears in the structure of the song. For instance, you might wait until the chorus to have the bass enter. You might add another guitar part in the chorus. The drums might go away in the bridge. You might add a new keyboard part in the bridge. The vocal treatment in the second verse may be different than the first verse. You may choose to use a piano to double the vocal line. Selecting how many background vocals you're going to have in a particular section, or will the background vocals carry the lyric and the lead vocal go away? All of these examples are arrangement. Arrangement is somewhat dictated by genre, because there are certain instrument choices and arranging choices when those instruments appear in the structure of the song, the record, that identify with a genre. But understanding those things and having the knowledge about what works for a genre and what might challenge a genre are good things to have a grasp on for arranging and being really effective at it and doing things that are unexpected. Arrangement and having a basic understanding is essential, because arranging is the most important part of record production. It's where all the power of record production is. Those choices about what instruments to use, when to use them, when to not have them in the arrangement, when to have just one harmony in the first chorus and wait until the second or third chorus to add an additional harmony, or a low octave of the lead vocal. These are all important things to understand, and to study music in general and arranging in general is important, but then also study the things that you want to, that are your influences and that you want to draw upon and put into your productions. Studying the genre that you feel like you identify with and you want to be have a visibility and a profile in. I think those are important things. It's really something to study and make notes about. Try and understand why certain arrangement choices in certain records are compelling and really engaging. I think a lot of times when we listen to music, we're not really thinking about the arrangements. Things happen in an arrangement, and it just feels like the energy is right, and that's really what you're trying to do. Is you're trying to choose the moments and the textures to really keep the momentum and the interest and the engagement of a record going. And that doesn't necessarily mean that there needs to be a lot of things happening, You can have a very busy arrangement in the introduction of a song, and then it empty out for the first verse. You could have the whole band in for the introduction, and then it just go down to, one instrument and the voice. It can be the drums, it could be a guitar, it could be a bass, it could be a piano. But that's in the context of a band. And that might be appropriate for certain types of music, but not all types of music. So it's important to study the genres and realize what are the choices people are making, and be able to discern and identify those things, because that's really where all of the power of record making happens, is in the arrangement and the decisions that are made in arranging. And like I said, the structure is an important part of it. Goes hand in hand with arranging, because the structure is the sequence of events, and in terms of the sections of the song and the order in which they happen. The arrangement is how you successfully navigate the structure of a song. And it's also the place where you make the choices that identify the aesthetic of a record and the genre. Studying these things and being knowledgeable so that you can then experiment with your own productions is essential. And trying arrangement ideas that are unconventional too, but know that they're unconventional. Know that it's something that doesn't necessarily fit a specific genre that maybe you're trying to do, but it's something you like from another piece of music, another genre of music. If you like it, that's your personality, that's your taste. And then if you can figure out a way to bring it into what you're working on in a different genre, that's how you look to create your own space and own identity. Arranging is where all the power is, and it goes not just for what instrument you're using and when, but it's also like how they sound. So it's really important that we study and experiment with arrangements. Look to other forms of music for inspiration. Let's talk about a few examples in arranging with some different records. Kings of Leon, Use Somebody. The whole band is in at the beginning. Everybody's playing. It's a really big intro, and then it switches to the verse, and it breaks down to just the keyboard pad, vocal, drums. It becomes very simple. The background vocal melody that's in the intro of the song comes back later in the song, is reintroduced as a melodic hook later in the song, and then is joined by other background vocals that are singing kind of counter melodies, and later in the arrangement it all kind of comes together once again. So that's like an arrangement where the beginning of the song is really big. It shows pretty much all the instrumentation that's in the song, and then it breaks it down to something that's really engaging and draws you in and puts a lot of focus on the vocal, on the lead vocal performance. And the arrangement builds throughout the song to kind of get back up to that place that the intro sort of demonstrated as just sort of this full-on, really engaging and exciting piece of music. So something that's a little simpler that we could talk about. Another example would maybe be like really simple but powerful production would be Adele's Someone Like You. Just a very simple piano, vocal, beautiful song, very powerful arrangement. That was enough. It really engaging, and it really put a lot of emphasis on the lyric of the song, the feeling of the song, and Adele's ability to just sort of perform and just fill up that record with a stunning performance. And it didn't need to be a lot of instrumentation or production value, but that's an arrangement choice. That is a production choice. On one hand, you might think that is not much of a production, but that's a very strong production decision. That's a significant arranging decision, and it's a choice that really put a lot of emphasis on the thing that was the most important to pay attention to, the beauty of the lyric and Adele's talent to deliver it. We could look at an older reference in terms of a popular song by Elvis, song "Don't Be Cruel." You listen to that; it's a very short song. It's like 2.5 minutes long. But the intro is very short. It is led by an electric guitar, and the electric guitar kind of plays, doesn't play the melody, but it kind of plays a riff that establishes the rhythm and feel of the song. And then as soon as that little intro is done, I don't think it's more than 4 bars long. As soon as that intro is done, that electric guitar, it's turned down. It's turned down to the point of where you're not really sure if you're hearing it. And now keep in mind that record was like a live recording basically, and so the arranging that was happening was what the musicians and the engineer the producer worked out to have as the live performance. It sounds to me like they had a microphone that was close on the guitar amp, and they had it loud for the intro, and then as soon as the intro was done, it's time to go to the verse, they turned it way down, and because you can hear it in the room, but because they were using so few microphones and the equipment was very limited, the arranging was really about conducting a performance and making a few choices on the fly or as part of the performance to get the record to happen. So, in that song "Don't Be Cruel," as soon as that introduction is gone, the electric guitar, it's barely audible. The piano and the upright bass, and it sounds like there's a drum kit in there too, because you kind of hear brushes on the snare, kind of playing sort of a swinging kind of rockabilly beat. The things that are really loud are Elvis's voice, the background vocals, and it sounds like somebody's thumping on the backbeat on the 2s and 4s. It sounds like on the body of an acoustic guitar, or it's just sort of like I don't know, maybe it's a box, who knows? I'm not sure what it is, but so there's some very strong elements that are very forward in that song, and the rhythm section is very much in the background. And then at the conclusion of the song, the sort of the tag of the song, that electric guitar comes back, and it just plays like this slow ringing out chord. It's not quite an arpeggiation. It just kind of like rakes across a chord, and it just is like it's the conclusion of the song. It's a really powerful arrangement. As soon as that intro of that song starts and you hear that guitar, it's exciting and you know exactly what you're listening to. And then it switches over to the things that are important. Now, so we've talked about a song that starts with the whole band playing. We've talked about a song that's very simple all the way through, and talked about an older song where the production choices were very much a part of the performance, and they were arranging based on their ability with equipment and facility, that they had to kind of do it all at once. That's another thing to consider. Older music is really interesting to consider studying because they did not have the technological advances and ability that we have now. Elvis didn't have, on those early records, they didn't have multi-track recording. They could sort of overdub by bouncing back and forth, but the technology dictated a certain style of production and ways that they had to think. And it's because it's almost, it's a little bit of a lost art in some ways in terms of record making. Not to say that some people still don't do that, but predominantly that's not the way records are made. And so it's a good thing to study and to sort of think about, like, well, how did they do that? And how did they pull that off? Because it's inspirational. It's information. It's stuff to just to take in and think about. And okay, so we've had those three examples, and the last example I'll give you is a song that starts a little bit simply, and then builds into something that that's a bit bigger at the end, which is James Bay, "Hold Back the River." It starts with an electric guitar and James singing. The introduction is sort of the main melodic riff of the song, played on guitar, and then James starts singing, and then in that first verse, you hear the drums start to comes in with the hi-hat, and then as the verse develops and gets closer to the chorus, the kit kind of comes in more full, and then as the song builds, the bass and another guitar comes in, and then when you get to the chorus, there's layers of background vocals, and then when you get to the bridge, one arrangement choice that was made with the layers of all the vocal layers is that there is a vocal that's sung in a echo chamber as an additional layer, and that kind of adds even more excitement to the song and builds and progresses through to the conclusion of that song. Let's look at a fifth example, just by the Beatles. Paul McCartney's song "Eleanor Rigby." It's got a lot of rhythm. All it is there's a string arrangement and there's vocals. It sounds like, because of the rhythm that is used in the song, that it might have been written on piano, but they chose not to include what I would imagine is the basic instrument that it was written on. I would imagine that Paul McCartney either wrote it on acoustic guitar or piano. The way the rhythm works, the way they adapted it to the strings, my guess is that it would be that it was started on piano. And they may have actually recorded a piano as a guide for the song, but I'm not sure. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's a very compelling and engaging song, has a lot of rhythm and movement to it, but all that it are strings and vocals. And the arrangement choices that are made, that's a very unusual way to make a song that has a lot of momentum and rhythm to it, with just having all the rhythm on the cellos play a lot of the rhythm, and the violas and violins play more of the melodic elements of it. The cellos are playing, and it's probably a double bass too, are playing more rhythmically, and just giving that feeling of momentum and rhythm. It's a pretty interesting and compelling record, and it sounds very complete. And I think when you listen to it, it feels so compelling and so complete that you don't really spend a lot of time thinking that it's just strings and vocals. There's all kinds of ways to arrange something powerfully, and I like all of those songs, and I feel like that there's some example in all of them that can be taken for inspiration to put in other songs. Just the idea that something like an Eleanor Rigby can carry the rhythm of a song might be an interesting, concept for the bridge of a song you're working on, or the verse of a song you're working on. Who knows really? it's just nice to have these things to think about and play off of. But then let's also be reminded that a great vocal performance on the Adele song with just a simple and beautiful piano part is potentially enough.